I just sat through a funeral with that.
That was horrible. That was the worst.
That was so bad. But all right, guys, grab your drinks, strap in. Show looks a little different tonight, but it's going to be a good one. See you in a second. What is up, Defects? Back for another live show. I think it's Thursday night.
Oh,
right? 8:30. A little different. We missed last week, so we decided to go Thursday this week. So we're probably going to go Thursday again in 2 weeks. But we got a lot to talk about tonight. As you can see, neither one of these fine gentlemen are the Butcher 105. But let me say what up to my guest first, because Gary's not really a guest. He's just family. Swaggle in the house, as the Butcher 105 likes to say. What is up, brother? Good to have you back on the channel. It's been a while. How you been, man?
I've been good. Thank you so much for having me on once again. It's going to be a good night. Lots to talk about. Got to see you guys at Terrificon last year and meet in person for the first time. Jay as well. So yeah, it's always good hanging out. So happy to be on.
That's always an adventure. Meeting Jay is always an interesting scenario for most people.
I will say Jay lived up to the hype of
exceeded. I would say right?
that the framing of just you wait until you see Jay at Terrificon. It's I'm yeah, okay, he's going to get pretty wild. And it was no. He went, to 11 for sure.
Nobody ever believes that the hype on screen is what it is off screen. And it's actually probably, would you say it's actually worse off screen, that it actually exceeds what you see live?
Yep.
And most people can't understand that, but you're probably about the 25th person to ever say that on to us, whether it's live or not.
What's crazy, wow. Jay is actually subdued during these live shows and auctions and everything.
Yeah.
He is at a 6. So you can imagine him at a 9.
Yeah. Except for those original days, pre 1,000 subs.
Those videos that are gone and archived.
Those were rough.
Those were crazy.
Wow. Yeah. Those were some interesting ones. Somebody was just talking about those the other day.
I wish they still existed.
Oh, a couple of them do. They're just not online. I have them stored away. I keep all the evidence. Are you kidding me?
Wait, do you have the Doom bots?
I might.
Oh my God.
Are these videos that actually should not be public anymore?
These are bad.
They can't be on.
Yeah. No. Some of those, there's 2 that are really
bad. Let me just tell you, the Doom bot video, I had it on my TV. You guys were live just BSing. I think it was Roger, Joe, Jay.
People just kept showing up.
So I was working and I had them on in the background and I'm listening and I'm pricing books or organizing. I'm working. I stopped everything and sat down and watched what was taking place.
It was bad.
It was crazy. That's a good one. But
all right, well, send me the link.
Privately.
I'll get the unlisted link.
That's a private link. Yeah, no, it's not even listed. That's off of everything. Yeah. That's that's sitting on that's sitting on a gateway PC somewhere in the corner, unplugged from the internet. Okay?
That's when Jay had his own channel.
Yeah, Jay used to have his own channel. That's right.
Yep.
Oh my God, Oilers Workshop. It has been a while. Good to see you in the chat, my friend.
You see who else is in here?
Who's in there?
I
see Rudy T.
Well,
I see
Black
Hale.
Crown. But
Black
hold
Crown.
on.
Carlo in the house,
Hero.
of course.
No. Rudy is here.
Rudy T. Yeah, he's in the house.
How about that?
Ozzy's in the house. Fallen here. I can't see everybody's name. We're off.
Haley. We have Haley's in here.
But guys, there's Jay. Speak of the devil, he shall appear. There he is. Too Cool for School has changed his name from the Butcher 105 to JC. But yeah, man, one of these days maybe we'll get him back as the Butcher 105. So, so Swag. Or Gary, I didn't say what up to Gary. I apologize. So Gary, what is going on? What's new? What's going on the channel? What are we doing tonight?
Everything's good. We don't have to take time away from Swaggle.
Okay.
Everything's good.
Just gonna get right into it.
Right into it.
So, Swag, I know you got some stuff that's going on in your realm that we'll talk about in a little bit here. That's pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting, obviously, for you, but it's pretty exciting for the community because you're like you're like a piece of bedrock of this community. So like your success feels like everyone's success, right? Because you're grounded. You're in this community, you're grassroots, so it feels good when the homegrown does well. You know what I mean? So we love to see it.
Thanks,
We
man.
love to see it. So before we get into absolutely anything, we have to pay some bills. So usually Jay does this, but I guess I'll have to step in. So Express Comic Book Pressing Service, you know who that is. Erod 212. He will absolutely blaze your books. Cleaning and pressing. Defects 10 gets you 10% off your order. He also submits to CGC and CBCS for you. Guys, hit him up. All the information is down in the description below. Best in the business, guys. Your presser's presser. Next up, we got Comic Nation. I don't know what I just clicked on. There we go. Comic Nation, the world's finest comic book shop. Defects 10 gets you 10% off your first order, and then code Defects gets you 5% off every order after that. You get 15% off of all pre-orders, and you get 5% cash back in Comic Nation currency on all orders. So you add that all together, you got somewhere between, what is that? I don't even know, 30 and 25%, depending on if it's your first order or not your first order. So hit up the guys at comicnation.us and tell them the Defects sent you. Last but not least, our good old friends over at Comic Book Exclusives. Defects gets you 20% off. They're stepping their game up, guys. And guess what? I'm feeling good. Mickey's here. We're going to give some stuff away tonight from Comic Book Exclusives. So at some point when the boys are talking, I'm going to run and grab something from the Comic Book Exclusives box, and we're going to give that away. Guys, all those links are down in the description below. Go get yourself some discount codes. All right, guys? Good? Ready to go? CGC?
Let's go.
Going to get into it?
Yeah.
Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Once again,
he said. And guys, by the way, we have a lot of little tiny announcements here and there throughout the night. So I'm going to try to spread them out so we don't get bogged down with just a bunch. But there's so much cool stuff happening in all three of our realms, right? So we have to share with you guys, obviously. But the big story, why everybody is here, Jason Generosity Fund. I see you, Jay. See, a big announcement today from CCG, which is the parent company of CGC, is acquiring JSA, the James Spence Authentication Service, basically the name in autograph authentication. If you know, if you're into that kind of thing, you know who JSA is, and maybe even if you're not, you may have heard of them. Big name in autograph authentication. This happened sometime yesterday, I believe. I got about 50 messages very quickly about this because people were talking. Some people were excited. Some people were kind of just like, what are they doing here? What are they doing here? And as you can see on the thumbnail, we asked the question, is this a mistake? And you're probably saying, how could this be a mistake? You're bringing an extra service to the community. But I have to play the devil's advocate here. I'm going to have to do it. That's what we do here on these channels. We try to make you think outside the box. But before we get into any of those opinions, I'm going to read a little excerpt from the release. But as I'm bringing that up, boys, is there anything you want to jump on, or did I miss prior to me, kind of reading a little bit of the press release?
Not yet. I mean, I have opinions and we can get into it, but let's wait, right?
What do you think, Swag? Anything?
No, we'll get into it for sure. With the rundown.
So this was posted yesterday. CCG and JSA will provide a seamless solution for autograph collectors to have their items authenticated, graded, and encapsulated by the world's top experts. CCG, the leader in authenticating and grading collectibles, is excited to announce that it has entered into a definitive agreement to acquire James Spence Authentication, the leader in autograph authentication. The combination of CCG, and again, CCG is the parent company of CGC, and JSA will provide collectors and dealers with a seamless solution to have autograph collectibles authenticated, graded, and encapsulated by the world's top experts. Let's see. There's a long article. I want to jump ahead a little bit. It talks about 2005 is when James Spence, JSA was founded. Let's see. The James J. Spence Jr. and James J. Spence III will remain at JSA's helms after the transaction closes, and Mark Pepitone, a JSA co-owner and an industry expert in his own right, will serve as senior advisor to the company. Let's see. The acquisition of JSA and CG is CGC's answer to the countless collectors and dealers who have asked to have their autographed collectibles authenticated and then graded and encapsulated. Although CCG pioneered witnessed authentication of autographs through its popular CGC Signature Series service, it has never offered full authentication and grading services for collectibles with unwitnessed signatures. All right, so that's a little excerpt. There's a little FAQ at the end, and we can answer some of the questions as we go through it. But guys, initial thoughts. I'm gonna go to Swaggle first. What are you thinking, my man? Just like general, like when you first saw it, what did you think?
I thought, of course, that was sort of my first thought, where this seemed to be kind of the one aspect that CGC couldn't do. It was like the one service that they couldn't provide for, a need that was maybe in the community. And then on the other end, this was the one thing that CBCS kind of had over CGC. So it always kind of just felt like, why are they not doing this? Like, why are they opposed to it? And I'm curious what you guys think. Like, I always kind of felt like, and maybe I made this up, that it was more of like a principled thing as a company, that they were just sort of like, well, we can't really know. The only way we can actually know if someone signs it is if we see it with our own eyes. So therefore, we shouldn't do it. And that was just kind of a stance that they had. And it sort of made sense. But this kind of throws a wrench into that gear. And I don't know if that was actually how they always felt about it. But it just feels like it was sort of an inevitability, right? This was like the revenue stream for them that they probably just needed to open up to. I don't know. What would you guys think?
Gary?
So I did an interview with Brittany McManus, head of CGC Signature Series, a couple of years ago. And, we asked a bunch of questions, and then we had the chat get involved, and this came up. Will CGC be offering, now this was years ago, of course, before this kind of a deal was ever even thought about. Will CGC ever be offering verified signatures? And her answer was no, because if you let just one verified signature get out there that was not correct, it kind of devalues the entire thing. And she's correct. So there are some signatures out there that you just know who it is. If you've been doing this long enough, you just know. Stanley's not one of them. His signature's changed over the years. But there are some, the Adam Hugheses, the I don't know, his always looked the same. The Joe Sinnets of the world, Steranko, like some of these guys have very recognizable signatures. Some people don't. I just hope they don't use a yellow label. That's what I don't want, because I want to keep the witnessed signature series like a top tier. I want that to be the elite signature you want, that gold label. Maybe they make it a silver or a bronze kind of color as a verified signature. I don't want it to be yellow. As a CGC facilitator who uses a bunch of guys as witnesses, that there is a premium to that. That is worth money, because not only do you pay for the signature, I understand these artists and writers, they want to get their money, but the time involved at a convention to get a signature witnessed with that yellow label is a premium. And that's my biggest fear, is like, I don't want to see these things have yellow labels. I really don't. I don't, because it's not the same as a witnessed signature.
So, I mean, all right, let me read this real quick, and then I'll go into mine. So, JSA was founded in 2005 by James Spence Jr., a giant in the world of autograph and memorabilia collecting. In the last 2 decades, JSA has certified millions of autographs, and in the process has built the world's largest autograph database of nearly 1 million images encompassing virtually every known person, from Thomas Jefferson to Taylor Swift, Lou Gehrig to Little League All-Stars. JSA uses the extraordinary database alongside deep expertise in state-of-the-art equipment to maintain unparalleled accuracy in autograph authentication. In addition to JSA's experts, frequent shows and interact closely with collectors, dealers, and auction houses, further defining the JSA name as being synonymous with trust and accessibility. So
I will
don't
say
want-
all that is true. I don't want to cut you off, Matt, but as
Yeah.
somebody who also like dabbles in baseball, hockey, signatures, that's just for me, like PC kind of stuff. They are the name. They are the premier name.
Yeah. And I mean, these guys, I've seen signature authenticators, and it is a process. These guys go deep. They know if something's been traced. They know if it's been photocopied. It's amazing. They could tell where the pressure lets off versus if I'm doing it versus the person who actually did it. You can make a perfect copy without tracing, but if your pressure is different than their pressure on certain letters, they can tell. So I didn't want to get into this yet, but just real quickly, like Gary said, the article kind of goes on to state that, and this really doesn't involve us too much, but it's opening the door for CGC to start grading and encapsulating other things that JSA already authenticates, right? So posters and things of that nature could start to get encapsulated by CGC. So expect CGC to have, or CCG to have another child company at some point soon for memorabilia. Doesn't really affect. Could it affect CGC? And that's what we're going to talk about. So my initial thought was, I didn't like it for a couple reasons, and they kind of started. I think it's good to a point, but it's like, is now the right time to do this? Is my thought, because you have so many leaks in your dam right now. You're running out of fingers to plug them, right? And does the community need this right now when there's so many other glaring holes clearly that have been exploited even just recently that we know of that have yet to be fixed? So now you're bringing in probably the door that's the widest for possible scams to occur. At least the attempt will be higher percentage wise than anything else, right? Because they made it simple before. I didn't see it. It gets a green label. There's no wiggle room. There's zero wiggle room. Now people will be attempting to break this system. And I could tell you and I won't mention any names, but there was a group of people that planned to expose CBCS's authentication process because they believe they cracked how they were able. They thought that they would be able to pass off fake signatures. And I can't tell you whether they did it or not. I can't tell you who it was or not. But just know that was happening, possibly. I'll leave it at that. So now CGC has now opened that door while they are trying to fix other doors that have yet to be fully rehinged or patched, or whatever analogy you want to use. And again, it's the timing. This is happening next month. This isn't happening 6 months from now. This starts next month. So is this we I don't know if Swag, I think you talked about this on your channel too, but like the whole thing with the 9.9, was that like, don't look over here, look over here? Like, are we there again? Or is this real? Has this acquisition been happening for the last 6 months prior to all this? I don't know. So before I give my other thoughts, I'll let you guys talk about kind of some of the shit that I just dropped before we get too far down the road here.
I got to think that, I mean, I love a good tinfoil hat, but I have to think that this was a deal that's been in the works for a long time.
I think so.
Like,
yeah,
it's probably not like hey, let's dangle a carrot, but man, CGC feels like they never understand their own optics. That's like, they seem pretty tone deaf with like their own kind of existence within the community. And so, but on the flip side of that, I kind of feel like, at least what I've seen, this has probably been a more positive reaction based on, if we're going to just evaluate like Instagram comments and YouTube comments as like how the community feels, than I've seen for CGC in a while. So it seems like most people were excited about this. But I am curious what you think, what you were getting at, Gary, too, with like how you wanted a different label. Because I think the real interesting part is like, what are going to be the unintended consequences from this? Or what's like the fallout? Like, are we going to get different labels? Are they going to be marked as like, this one was witnessed, this one was authenticated? Like, and if they do start to notate that, I have a feeling people are eventually dealers are not going to want to do that. Like, remember how, what was it, a couple years ago when they removed like the label notes on the label because it was like, oh, it's too hard to sell like a cover detached one, you know?
Yeah.
And so I wonder if that same thing would happen where it's like, oh, it's too hard to sell the authenticated one compared to the witness one. Let's just make it easier and have it not be, you know, distinguished. And if people want to look up the grader's notes, they'll just find it in the grader's notes or whatever. So I don't know. It's an interesting thing, but I think I just sort of think at this point where CGC has potential to gain market in anything collectible, they're going to go for that.
They've made that very clear with toys and video game grading. Like they're a mammoth right now. They're a monster. Yeah. Deals like this too. These take months to make them work.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's happening next month tells me this thing was probably in the works before the holidays.
Yeah,
this has been going on for a long time. I definitely think they should have put their effort and focus into finding a new case and designing a new case. Like this was not where their effort should have been. With all that being said, though, again, this process probably started before the holidays and is just coming out to the end. But I just really want a different label. I don't let, CBCS has the same color as a verified and witnessed signature. And there's a small little notation on the label that says verified or witnessed. If you're not looking for it and you're just looking at a yellow label, you don't know. Me personally, I'm not buying a verified signature at any type of premium ever. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean it's not authentic. Like, please, guys, like the thing is, if they verify 1,000 signatures and 999 are correct, it's that 1,000th one that still makes me nervous. It's that last one. Like, I'm not paying a premium for it. They need a different colored label. If they come out with a gold label, I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be very upset because I don't think this is the worst thing in the world for them to do, but it's a verified book is not as valuable as a witnessed because that witnessed book was witnessed by a CGC witness and handled with a facilitator. And that book never left the eyes of the witness or the facilitator. And it's authentic. As somebody who does it, like we do.
You notice, Gary, if you've ever had CBCS books on your shelf, like are customers more discerning when it has the verified or authenticated?
I don't have a lot of CBCS verified versus witness signatures. Very, very, very few. Very few. So I don't have any. I have no experience with that, but I'd imagine I have not a problem with it, but I definitely would rather a witnessed, even if it's CBCS and it's witnessed, that's fine. It's that verified signature that kind of, I don't know, just scares me a little bit.
I just go back to the fact that this was not broken. This was not an issue.
I agree with that.
Right. So you have what happened over the last 3 months was not a small thing. That was a major fucking issue. It affected the census. It affected sales, price averages. I mean, it literally shifted the whole market of ASM 194, Black Cat. Like it was literally a high, it was like 10% of the 9/8 census was on that fucking list. It was that's crazy. That's insane. They had something that needed to be corrected, and now you're bringing in something that is not fixing a problem. It's not filling a gap that 1 million people were asking for. It is just something else to manage. And while I think they'll be able to do it, and I think JSA is probably going to just take the reins, and then CGC is literally just kind of scooping them under their wing, they're already talking about doing memorabilia, and they're talking about doing this, and they're talking about doing that. They're going to have a process, some of the Q&As. Can I submit? When can I submit? April. If there's a letter of authenticity from JSA with your comic, that will have its own submission process. So again, another step. Will they be on site with CGC? Yes, in the near future. That's another process. What else does it have here? let's see, if you had a green label, if your comic has a green label because it has a signature, they will have a different process than just submitting it for verification or authentication because it already has a green label. That will be its own process that goes through a different process, that goes through a different submission tier and a different cost, I'm sure. They're just adding layers to their already just overused. They're getting so many submissions. They're clearly backlogged. They clearly have issues that have not been fixed yet. Like Gary said, where is the new case? Because if anybody is out there saying they don't need a new case, that's just insane. I think they would even tell you themselves that they need a new case at this point to put all this shit to rest. Because at the end of the day, CGC, the G is guaranteed. And right now, a lot of people don't feel like there's a guarantee with anything. And now you're talking about signatures that anybody could have done. And I don't know. I think JSA is probably going to be able to handle them, but I don't know, man. This just the timing, and like Swaggle said before, the optics are just not very good right now.
It really is going to change so much of like process too. Where like Gary, you said it really well. Like, and I didn't even think about it. Like the effort that it takes for you to go to a con and get like a signature, like it's not no time. Like it definitely is like worth whatever that $100 premium you're going to pay on that slab, right? Because it's like someone had to get the ticket to go to the show, wait in line to get the whatever Chris Claremont to do it, and get the CGC witness over there, et cetera, et cetera. But like now, I mean, you can really do it anywhere. So it's like, if you guys like you have your exclusive, say with like Ryan Brown, right? You guys did your thing, and you could just have Ryan sign a bunch of them, and you can just send them in to JSA and get it done. And like before, it would have been a lot more effort for you to have to like figure out, okay, how do we set up an official CGC witness thing for us to do? So it's going to change a lot, and I think a lot of stores will be like, oh, if I could just get Chris Claremont in here, then I can just have him sign stuff. And I don't know. It's really interesting where it'll go from here with this.
The process to become a CGC facilitator is not easy. So here, I'll hit you up.
And to even maintain it, Gary, right?
You have to maintain it. So I don't know how many people are in here, but I'll tell everybody how it works, just in case people don't know, to become a CGC facilitator. In order to become a CGC facilitator, you have to be approved to become a CGC. What is the word? I forgot what it is. Basically, a business account, like there's a title for it. But in order to apply to have that account, you have to get 3 people to basically go to bat for you. You have to fill out a form and get approved, right? So now you have to hold this special account. I forgot, man, I can't believe it's been so long because I'm not there anymore. I'm facilitator, but I don't know if it's a business account or something. So again, you have to have 3 people go to bat for you, write an email to CGC, and then you need to fill out this form. Once you're approved, you're in this standing, right? Then you have to hold that account for a minimum of 1 year in order to apply for to become a facilitator. But to apply for a facilitator, you not only have to stay in good standing with CGC, you not only have to have the special account for a year, you have to submit a minimum of 600 books a year and maintain that. Then when all that is, you've hit all that criteria, then you can apply to become a facilitator. If you look at the CGC list of facilitators, it's not long. Somebody brought it up in the chat. There's a lot of witnesses. There is absolutely a ton of CGC witnesses, but those witnesses are only as good as the facilitator and CGC. A witness going to a con without a facilitator or CGC there is just another person. Yeah. A witness cannot go and get their own book signed and send it off to CGC. It doesn't work that way. The witness has to watch the book signed for someone else. And in order for the witness to actually be a witness at a show, because I don't know how else to word it, they have to be requested by either CGC or the facilitator to work that show. So it's an entire process. It's a whole thing. So for them to take a really good working, facilitator, witness, a whole program that works really well, to just kind of, I don't know if they've moved it to the side. I do like the idea of another way of getting your books signed and graded, but man, you can't do that gold label. That's the biggest thing. That gold label is a premium. Like you can stand in line with a witness at a Chris Claremont signing at a show for an hour.
Yeah.
And you're only at that show for that day, and you lost an hour waiting for Chris Claremont to get that signature or those signatures so you can get those graded. Like there is a premium to a gold label. And that's not only is there a premium because of course it's signed and you have to pay. And I said this earlier, you pay for the signature. Some artists charge $10, right? Some artists like a Jim Lee charges 50. All right. So you're paying the premium on top of the book already in that grade, but the time, and I don't think enough people in this hobby understand or realize how much time everything takes, from organizing books and bagging and boarding and pricing and setting up to waiting in line for artists and writers. And they just can't. They cannot make this a gold label. They cannot. I'm already disappointed in the case that they haven't addressed it. And now if they make these verified signatures gold label, I'm going to be very upset. I think a bronze is the way you go with that. So you still have a flashiness, but yet you don't have that gold. I think you need a bronze or a silver label for a verified signature.
You know why that would also be important, just really quickly, is it would be something to also sort of protect some of the artists and writers themselves, because sometimes those artists and writers, like if you want an autograph and it's just for you, they may say like, oh, $5. But if they know, hey, you're going to send it to CGC, like I got to charge you like 50. So like there's going to be people who it's like, oh, these are 100 copies for me, and it's then they'll just send it to JSA or whatever. So you got to kind of protect those artists' interests as well.
That's true. So yeah, there's times where you go up for a signature for an artist and they will ask you, are you sending this off to CGC? Like obviously if there's a person there with a CGC shirt on, but sometimes there's witnesses that don't wear it. If my witnesses don't wear it because I'm not CGC, technically, I'm a facilitator for CGC. So none of my witnesses wear that. John is really going in hard on CBCS. No, I won't go to CBCS because their books they don't have the value of CGC. It's just a fact. You could be mad at me and yell at me and say I'm stupid, but at the end of the day, a CGC graded book will always get a premium over a CBCS. If either of you two disagree with me, please disagree with me.
Not right now. I mean, what I was going to ask was two questions. So does a current gold label or even a gold label going forward, a witness signature, does the value go up, down, or stay the same after this happens?
I think it will stay the same, but your verified signatures won't get the premium of a witnessed signature.
What do you think, Swag?
Yeah, I think it's going to stay the same, but you're going to add more signatures onto the market. So whether they're witnessed or verified. So does that devalue it? It's sort of like do facsimiles and second prints and stuff, do they devalue their counterpart comics, or do variant, homages devalue their counterparts? It's like sort of even just introducing the authenticated versions almost make you feel like over time, will it devalue the witnessed ones?
I think I'm right there with you. I do think in a way, because if I'm trying, let's say, and there's not a huge market for aftermarket signatures. A lot of people just like to keep their signatures, but there is, right? If you now have the option to buy either a verified or unverified, and maybe people start going with the cheaper option because, it's a cheaper option. It's for my PC. Like I'm never going to get rid of it. JSA told me it's real, so it's real. So how could that not devalue the gold label? I think over time, in some instances, right? Not in all instances, but I think in some instances, because you just have more inventory. The second point I was going to make is, I think the verified signature is going to cost more. The whole process will end up costing more than a witness signature.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
which will in turn either make people not go to the verified process, because let's be realistic. How many times do you just see a random artist without a witness or CGC around. It doesn't happen too often, right? There's these smaller shows where some of these artists are at for sure, right? But it's usually not top tier name artists, right? So are you getting that signature verified or gold or witnessed anyway? So it's almost like, how often will this service be used? I mean, I guess we're going to find out. I think a lot of green labels are going to be sent in. Like, that will be the majority of their workload for a while. I think we'll be fixing green labels or resubmitting green labels or whatever. But I do think this verification process is going to cost more than paying, do you have to pay witnesses ever? I feel like in New York you do. If they're from CGC, you have to tip them or something like that. No, it's not.
No,
So,
CGC covers all that.
Right. So you pay the facilitator, right? Some of the artists make you pay more if you're getting it submitted, right, Gary? Some of them do. Or
Yes,
some of them make you
sometimes
submit
an
it through
artist
them.
will charge you more for a signature if they know you're sending it to CGC.
Right. And then the facilitator fee, and then the process, right? The gold label process. I think those three things combined will be less money than the verification process, because I think that's going to just be one bigger number, right? Whereas, facilitator fee, they charge you maybe like, anywhere from $20 to $40, and then the signature portion of that is, Gary, what is it? Somewhere anywhere between $50 to $75.
It's
Yeah,
somewhere in there, yeah, with
Right,
shipping and everything.
most facilitators are somewhere between $1 and $150 for the whole process, right? Shipping, grading, the shipping, the grading, the witness, their time, and you're getting it back to your door for about $150. I think the verification is, when you add it all, your own shipping cost, the grading cost, the verification cost, and then the shipping back cost, I think is going to cost more than that. I think
It will. And you know what else? I don't think people realize they charge per signature. So if you have multiple signatures on your book, you're paying per signature.
Right.
So think of all those ASM 700 books with all those signatures on there. I mean, it'll be expensive. Also, one thing I do want to address, back issue Paulie was talking about, and Frank Miller charging $100 per signature. So what happens at these shows with these super big time artists? Think of a Todd McFarlane. Well, I don't know if Todd does this, but because he's always pushing, promoting things. But think of a Frank Miller, think of a Jim Lee, like these big time artists and writers that cost a lot of money to sign. They aren't setting the price of the signature. They're getting paid to be there. So the price of the signature is set by the showrunner. And if you see a high price, like $100 for Frank Miller, which I totally agree is a bit excessive, that's because Frank Miller's fee for coming to that show is expensive. It's a lot of money. So that showrunner has to recoup that money in order to have Frank Miller there. So that's why that $100 price point is where it is. It's not going in Frank Miller's pocket. He's already getting paid. If nobody shows up at that show, Frank Miller's still getting paid. The same with a Jim Lee, that level. I don't want to group Todd McFarlane in there because Todd McFarlane doesn't do a lot of shows. He only does like New York and San Diego. And he usually only does them when he's pushing something, right, like something big, like a movie or a new book or something like that. So I can't really group him in. Liefeld, I believe, I can't assume. I'm not going to say that. I'm only going to talk about like a Frank Miller and Jim Lee.
I don't think he gets money.
Again, that price point, that signature is the showrunner's decision in order to compensate for the cost of that particular person to be at the show. So like an Adam Hughes is not one of those guys. A Capullo, a Snyder, those aren't like that. I'm talking about top legends. I'm going to use that word a little loosely, but
Yeah.
those kind of guys.
I guess we'll never know if a forgery goes through, right? Like, I guess we'll never know if a forgery goes through.
The only way
right?
you're going to know if a forgery goes through is if someone does it on purpose and then announces it.
Yeah.
Like literally, you're going to have to see YouTube videos of people signing books so you know it's that book and then sending it off and then having it come back.
And JSA is not, innocent of any scandals. I mean, I think in the sports card world, signature forgery has been like a massive thing.
Massive. Yep.
I'm sure that's why, Matt, you said it right in the beginning. Like, this leaves room for mistakes. And is the verified
mistakes.
signature market that big where you had to get a piece of it? I don't
Well,
understand. I don't like this move. I don't like
That's
any
what
of
I
it.
said. I don't necessarily like it. I'm happy for people that are happy for this. But I
Great.
think as
Absolutely.
a whole, this is it a mistake on CGC's part in the long run? I don't know. Do they get like, or do they become like too big to fail? Like, I hate to use that, but do they become too big to fail?
Well, people are using the word monopoly, and it's not a monopoly because you
Not
have
yet.
other grading companies. But is it a matter of time before they gobble up CBCS, which I don't even know if they'll do because CBCS is owned by Beckett. So if you're going to take CBCS away from Beckett, just buy Beckett.
Yeah. I think it's just for them, and Matt, you said it already, is just you have to grow, right? As a company. Like, that's the only direction is to go up. So they're like, cool, we got comics on lock. Now we got to do cards. Cool, we got that on lock. Okay, now let's do pulps, and we got to do, posters and VHS and this and that and whatever. So anything that exists within collectible, I think they just have to go that way. And this is just another road that they have to get.
I mean, CBCS, that was the question I was going to ask. Do they just become obsolete? I mean, I think it's safe to say, like,
let me just say quickly, CBCS is not perfect either. No, like, let's make that very clear. They're another option, and I like CBCS's slabs. I really like their latest ones. I think they're great, but they're not innocent either. They make mistakes too. I've heard of people lose books being lost and crazy turnaround times over there. Like, I do agree with Jay. They're not going to buy CBCS.
They don't have to, right? No, it's just a matter of the CBC. Let me ask. So, Gary is a perfect example. Like, they're not perfect. Like, remember during COVID, they had an employee bring home like 50 fucking boxes of slabs to work at home. Yeah. Could you imagine if that was CGC? The amount of fucking videos that would have been done on that. Forget about the whole thing that happened with the fake thing. That it would have been just as big as that because people would have lost their shit. So CBCS, does the competition go away? Because CBCS still like, they still annoy CGC enough to keep them honest. But if that goes away, no one's left. Because PGX, hey, if you like PGX, good for you. But they're not really relevant at this point. Nobody really talks about them. They're not in the same league. They're not a step below. They're not even 2 steps below.
I feel like John hates me. I don't like it when people are upset with me.
Listen,
you
gotta play devil's advocate. Yeah, you gotta play devil's advocate. But so if
that's true,
CBCS goes so far back or just becomes obsolete or becomes the same level as a PGX, where does CGC have to live up to? That is another aspect of this.
Yeah. And not to speak for you, Gary, but I feel like with what John is saying, it's like, I mean, Gary, correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like you're just being honest and real about the situation. It's not like we don't want CBCS to be successful.
That'd be great. Of course, competition breeds success.
That's it's just like this is kind of just the reality of it, and it is a little worrisome. I'd be curious, like, how many dealers are in that situation where, I would assume most dealers are loyal to CGC. And then every now and again, you get that batch of books that has signatures on it. And you're like, okay, well, I'll go to CBCS here.
I've done it.
Clearly, those dealers are going to send it out to CGC, So I wonder how much of a impact on CBCS business that is going to be. But yeah, I just kind of think that the majority of people that we're sending to CBCS because of the signature aspects are probably going to go over to CGC now.
They will.
Yeah.
I also think it's such a small market. Maybe it's bigger than I thought. And maybe CGC and let's call it what it is. It's actually not CGC that purchased. It's CCG. The parent company that purchased JSA. Yep. So maybe they just purchased them because they were a profitable company in the collectibles market. And that was part of it. And by the way, now we get to use them for our comics and our cards, because
Yeah.
they also grade sports cards
And
CGC.
VHS, and like you said, they're the future movie memorabilia wing of their, company.
Now, they bought them with this in mind. This wasn't like a second thing, because right out the gate, not even a month after the announcement, they're saying we're taking submissions. This was the goal from day one.
Probably. But this also happened, I still say months ago, this process started.
Oh, of course. But apparently if they're accepting submissions next month, that means all that groundwork and foundation and tiers and process has been built over the last few months. They didn't build that in a few days, right?
And it is still so frustrating, because they should be working on a label. This shouldn't have been important. The 9.9 thing was stupid too. I don't like any of that.
Oh my God. I love Swag's videos where he is doing a duet with somebody that's going, when the grader was going through the stack of 9/8 versus 9/9s.
Oh yeah.
And I was dying, because you just see Swag's face what about?
It was a bad look. But I'm happy, not to derail, but just quickly on that. I'm happy that CGC makes those type of videos, and I want to applaud them for doing it. And I don't, because I'd rather live in a world where it's they just sort of say, hey, this is what we do. So
love the transparency.
You guys can
more
decide. Yeah, if you don't like it, that's fine. But this is what we do, and I'd rather know that they give 9/9s based on what I think of as relative grading versus the individual grading of a book itself.
Oh my God. Yeah.
David Cubis, is there actual data that says CGC brings more money for a book?
There's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a.
I have people that won't buy a CBCS book.
Yeah.
So there you go. And I know there's people out there that won't buy a CGC book, but the other way far outweighs, and it's.
I guarantee you do a poll in the chat, okay, and you say, okay, you have $5,000 to buy a Grail. I'm going to give you $5,000 to buy a Grail.
Thank you, Matt.
You could either buy a CGC, let's say it's an FF1 or something like that, right? An FF1. You could either buy a 1.0 FF1 CGC or a 2.0 CBCS. I guarantee you at least 80% of the people in this chat are taking the 1.0 CGC book. Or another way to do that.
You made that one a little too easy. I would actually take the
you think you
CBCS
could
and crack it.
1015. Let's sell it. Yeah,
okay,
that
so
one.
1.15. All right, here's a better way. So I say you can buy a CGC book for X amount of dollars, or you can buy the same CBCS book, but I'm going to give you how many hundreds of dollars is it going to take you until you say yes to that CBCS book, right? It's definitely not happening at $100 or $200.
Here's the thing.
It's a decent amount. Yeah.
Here's the question you ask everybody.
Go ahead.
I'm giving you $5,000 to buy a book. Here's an FF1 in a 1.0 CGC, and right next to it is an FF1 CBCS. They're the same price. Which one are you buying?
Yeah, well, that's an easy one, right?
And
I was trying to make it interesting, right?
That's why you're going to buy the CGC, because it garners more money. Doesn't make it right. I'm not here defending CGC. I'm just calling it what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is, right?
People always get on me in my videos when I talk about how CGC gets a premium over CBCS. I'm not making it up.
Yeah.
Go look on eBay. Go look at the sales data.
And you can see, there will always be a heritage auction or whatever that rolls around, and you'll see 2 Ultimate Fallout 4 sell back to back, or 2 giant size X-Men sell back to back, and one's in a CGC, one's in a CBCS, and every single time the CGC one sells for more.
There you go. I don't make it up.
While I'm doing something here, Gary, can you talk a little bit? And we could come back to this, but I just want to take a quick break and talk about King Con.
Yes.
Can you take it over for a second, Gary?
You want me to?
Yeah, please.
All right, King Con. So it's the weekend after Easter. So what's that? About 2 weeks
6th.
away?
2 weeks, I think.
About 2 weeks away, Northern Jersey. This show is awesome. By the community, for the community, or for the community, by the community. I'm not sure how Jay words it, but it's perfect. This show has been getting better year in and year out. And this one is aiming to be the best, because it has the largest artist and writers group of all of them. It is wall to wall comic books. You're not going to get cosplayers. You're not going to get card sellers. You're not going to get tchotchke sellers. You're going to get comic books with a slab, just a little bit of toys, which I always like anyway. Put them together. The group of sellers are tremendous. Like, if you go to King Con and take your time, chances are you're going to find the book you're looking for. And it's gotten bigger. Like, that's what I'm really excited for too. We're at a new location this year. I say we, but it's at a new location this year, which is bigger footprint, more square footage. Greg, who runs it, was able to increase the vendor count, which is great. That means more options for you guys, options are good, as like we've been talking about for the last hour.
Yeah.
Klaus Janson will be there. Lee Weeks will be there. Ryan Brown, Chris Campana, Dan Parent. So you have 5 artists there, and doing signatures, remarks, everything's good. It's just, there's a lot to say about this show. It's a one-day show. And if you can't make the show, here's the best part. If you can't make the show, myself, the Defects, and Erod are going to do everything we can do to bring the show to you on eBay Live. Friday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, Erod is going to start on eBay Live, bringing you not 1, but 2 exclusives. There are 2 show exclusives with an extremely limited print count. Because it's a small show, we have a small print count. When he's going to be running at 7, I'm going to start at 8:30. I'll have Ryan Brown with me at 8:30 on eBay Live, which is going to be cool. You're going to be able to, here's a fun thing. As the CGC facilitator and having a witness at the show, while I have Ryan Brown with me, you can send your books out to CGC and get that elusive yellow label.
You can get the witness one. The witness one is way better.
What?
The witnessed one. It's way better.
Yeah. I mean, the witnesses will be there. Not 1, but 2 witnesses will be there during the show. So if you get something done by Ryan, whether it's a signature or a sketch, we can send that out to CGC for you. Then on Saturday, I'm not sure, Maddie, when does Erod go? Because I know you guys have a huge 2-hour show in the middle of the day.
Yeah, so Erod's going Friday night before you, and Saturday to open it up.
Okay. And then I'm going to run Saturday after Erod, and I'm going to run right into you guys. Now, the Defects have an amazing 2-hour show lined up. Like, I've been talking to Matt and Jay about this. They're literally going to have sketches, signatures, exclusives, and anything else you want right there for you. So again, if you can't make the show, we're going to bring the show to you. And Matt, can we can we talk about how the running, that you're going to have a runner? Can we talk about that? Because I thought that's such a really cool.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So this is a Matty Forge idea. I can't bring it unless Jay brought it up. I don't know if you guys talked about this. So I don't know if we're going to do it during Erod's show, and I don't know if we're going to do it during my show. It depends how things are. But during the Defect show, while they're selling and auctioning and having a good time on eBay Live, if people are looking for a specific book, they're going to have somebody go run and get that book and then auction it off. So That's going to be cool too. And it's going to be tough to bring something like that to an extremely big show, but to be able to do it, especially when there's so much fluff at the bigger shows, this is literally wall-to-wall comic books and comic vendors, which means if there's a specific book you're looking for, call it out during the stream. Maddie's going to have a runner go try to find that book for you. And then boom, right there, eBay Live, auction it off. Let's go. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Maddie Siggs.
Around.
All right. So yeah, I was just showing some slides while Gary was doing that. 2 exclusives. They're super limited. We'll talk a little bit more about that next week. But let's go back to CGC for a little bit.
We've
Final
covered
thoughts,
a lot,
kind of.
right? Like,
I feel like we
been a
covered
good conversation.
I mean, final thoughts, kind of. I mean, what do we make of this? Like, what's the final thought? Like, where is this going? Does any of this really matter? I mean,
I do think it matters.
You know what I mean? Are we just talking to the air at this point?
I do think it matters. I think it matters a lot. CGC has been, since the year started, CGC has just been riddled with scandals. And I think this just leaves another opportunity for a scandal to happen. I don't like this one bit. And if they put a yellow label on these books, I'm going to like it even more, dislike it even more.
Okay.
I would be surprised if the label color is different. I'd be surprised.
Ooh.
But,
all right.
but
You're expecting a yellow label.
I'm expecting a yellow label with a what do you call it? Like a little footnote.
Like a notation.
Yeah, that's what I expect. And then my really cynical outlook is that after about a year of that, they'll just get rid of the notation. That's what I expect.
Oh, don't say that.
I know, but I'm just, my heart is black, and I just,
I love it.
I'm
Come over
saying,
to the dark side. It's warm.
What do you
What
think?
you got back there over your shoulder there?
What?
What is
you're
that,
talking about?
Swaggle?
You're talking about Emmy
other shoulder.
award-winning.
Oh!
What do you got behind your shoulder?
Yeah, what's over
I'll
there,
show
Gary?
you
That's
that.
actually, we talked about that. That could be more important.
Do you guys know? Do the people in the chat know that Gary?
Gary, tell them.
Tell them, Gary.
Duelist champion? I have no idea.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist champion.
That's
That is
right.
a huge deal.
What's over there on your stand? What is that?
It's it's a gold.
It's a major award.
Yeah, it's an award. It's an Emmy. I won an Emmy one time.
There you go.
Yeah, so that was cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
That is pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie.
It is. I'm like excited. I'm on screen with an Emmy award winner.
So what is exactly? We got to go back to the. It's not Grandmaster because Gary always yells at me. What is your official title for you?
A duelist champion.
Duelist champ. I thought there was more to it. I thought there was like a longer version.
No. Well, it says duelist king champion, but I'm modest.
See, duelist king champion.
I'm a modest guy. So
I bet there's more Emmy winners in the world than there are duelist champions. So just
how
think
about
about
duelist
that.
king champion?
Yeah, duelist king.
You actually
champion.
might not be wrong, dude. You might not be wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's that. So
There's
put it
that.
in the chat. What's more impressive, the Emmy or the duelist king champion? Which is more impressive? That's all I want to know. Put it in the chat. Oh my God, this is.
What do you think, Matt? Do you have final thoughts on the CGC thing?
I do. I mean, I think a bunch of people were alluding to it in the chat, right? This isn't going to change many people's minds. I think after, I don't know. I mean, we should really kind of try to do some research to find out. I'm so behind on my research. I have so many things I want to talk about, but how many people really stopped using CGC after what happened? How many people hesitated, but then are going slowly back to it? How many people still have an axe to grind? How many people have forgotten what happened? How many people have really changed their whole stance on slabs permanently from what happened? I don't know what that percentage is. So until we really know, it's going to be hard to say, is this going to sway people one way or another, whether it's back in or further out or all the way out? I really don't know. From my standpoint, I'm sure we're going to look back on this 3 or 4 years from now, and it's going to be kind of, a nothing burger. But in the short term, I could see this having some ramifications while also delaying. And maybe I'll eat my words. They may, in a month or two, come out with a new case. And then I'll sit here and say, I was wrong. But right now, until that happens, what I'm seeing, the optics are, you are focused on the shiny new toy that nobody really needed, instead of fixing a gap, a massive gap. There wasn't only one scandal. There was 2 scandals. And people that forget that there was a husband and wife, I think they were, that were taking books out of the slab. Like they were literally ripping off CGC and then selling them. That wasn't even the resubmittal reholder scandal. It was a separate scandal. They have 2 different lawsuits going on right now. Mickey documents both of those very well. Automatic Comics documents both of those very well. So go check out their channels. But so I really think that this is a mistake from the standpoint of you are making the optics worse, which is not good. I want there to be a strong CGC because that's what the hobby needs. You need a strong company behind this hobby. Regardless of whether you hate them or love them, it doesn't matter. We need them.
That's like the Yankees being good. You need the Yankees to be good for baseball.
If you're somebody that doesn't collect CGC slabs or never slabs or raw, you don't give a shit. you're like laughing at this. You're just basking in the glory, right? But at the end of the day, this hobby has to have a CGC. I hate to break it, like that's just the way it is. So, and it needs to be a strong, whether it's CGC or somebody else, it needs to be a strong company that people can get behind because it makes the hobby stronger. And you want a strong hobby. You don't want a hobby that's flailing around on his deathbed that nobody cares about. You want these things to be important. You want people, a lot of eyes on these things. You want values to go up over time. You don't want this thing to die. And I just, right now, short term, I think this is a mistake. Long term, I'm sure it's going to be good for their bottom line. But right now, it's really bad for optics. It's probably kind of bad for the collector because they're ignoring the things that we actually need right now. So I don't know. What's more important, to keep the customer happy or make money? I mean, there's a fine line, right, Swag? I mean, it's,
Yeah.
I don't know.
If you guys had to put a percentage on it this year, hearing an announcement of new cases, where are you at?
They need it.
Well, he's
You
saying
need a
percentage
new-
that we actually get.
What percent chance do you think where we hear it?
If you had asked me this when that first scandal broke, I said February 1st, right, Matt? We talked about, or the end of February. I'm like, they're going to come out quick with this.
Mm.
Oh, I thought it
we're
was already
pushing
out. I thought they
April.
had it already.
We're pushing April and nothing. Hopefully this isn't the optimist in me, but I'm 100% confident we get a new case by the end of the year. What I don't want is a price increase because of said case in a year from now.
Mm.
So like we get the new case before year's end, and then 6 months after that, we get a price increase. That's what I don't want.
Right.
Give us a new case and leave it the way it is. Let's go.
What do you think? Are you optimistic, Matt?
We lost him.
I'm here. My headphones went out. I don't know what happened. Go ahead.
Oh.
Sorry.
I was to say, what about you, Matt? Are you optimistic percentage wise? What would you guess this year?
Oh, I'm not going to say 100, but I'm pretty optimistic. I would say, and maybe I'm just being like overly optimistic, but probably like 95% sure they have to, right? Like, I mean, I guess they don't because like we're still submitting, right? So.
Yeah,
I do agree with John. New cases should have been the only thing they were doing.
I agree.
Yeah.
They are tone deaf. It's almost like they don't. CGC used to pride themselves on listening to the community. They used to pride themselves. That used to be a big thing. We hear you, right? We hear. They aren't listening right now. And I'm wondering if it is because they were purchased or you have different people at the top. I don't know. But I don't know. I don't like
Gary. This is literally the question for you because you're somebody with
no, I wouldn't be
slabs.
10%. It will upset too many dealers with the current stock. No. So Brash, I'll tell you why it won't upset dealers. Because what CGC will do is that if they change the case, they'll still make them like stackable where they kind of fit in one another. They've done that with each evolution of the case. It's very important. Like there's nothing makes me more upset than when I have an entire box of X-Men slabs and like there's 2 CBCS books in there. And I'm like, damn it.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit right. So I don't think it'll upset dealers. I think it would. Maybe I don't know, but I would think dealers would be happy to get a tamper-proof case with some kind of system in it. I would be right. Ecstatic.
You know what's funny is even outside of all this like controversy stuff, like the case is their product. Like you would just think that as a company, it would just sort of be like, oh yeah, every like 2 years we look to upgrade and make our cases better and all. Like you would just think that that's just part of their business. So it's kind of surprising that it's.
Well, I would also assume to pick up where you're saying is you would want a new case every X amount of years because how many people are going to resubmit for the new case?
Right.
Which is more money in your pocket.
Right.
Like I hate that I have all my books displayed and I have one old case and I want to send it in for resubmit. 2 old cases and I want to send them in because they're not a perfect match. They still look good next to each other, all the new and the old, but they're not perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think I could answer this. What up, Manu? It's not like all of a sudden day one, you're going to have 10,000, 100,000, 500,000 new cases in the wild for sale. Like, it's going to be a slow introduction. So if Gary has 1,000 slabs, he's going to slowly have, all of a sudden he's going to have like 2% new slabs, and all of a sudden it's going to be 10%, then
Yes,
it's going
that's
to be 20%,
exactly how it'll happen.
and it's going to go in and out. And yeah, maybe towards the very tail end where nobody wants to buy the old case, he might have to discount a little bit, but in the long run, he's going to bring in the customer that was waiting to buy slabs for the new case, or is not trusting CGC until they have that new case, that wouldn't have bought that book off the wall from Gary. So I think in the long run, Gary makes out. He has more customers in the long run, and I don't think it hurts. His old inventory is hurt until the very, very end, but I think it's outweighed vastly by the new number of slab collectors that are no longer collecting slabs as of today, but they will be collecting them again once the new case, if and when we get a new case. What do you, I mean, is that about right, Gary? I mean,
yeah, that's right. But I also want to add that there's a premium value on the really old cases.
They're very much so. Yeah.
There's a premium. I have an Amazing Spider-Man 50 first Kingpin in a 7.5 original label. So why does it get a premium for the older cases? Those books were not cleaned and pressed. So there's not only room for upgrades, but there's a lot of talks that it was very strict grading way back then too. So sometimes you get a premium on the older cases. But
absolutely.
I mean, I'll be screaming from the rooftops. I want new cases. Tamper proof. So somebody said it. Somebody said it in the chat, and I don't remember who it was. Just because it's tamper proof doesn't mean you can crack it open. It just means you can't put it back together. So you cracking books at home because you want to get this book signed at a convention is still going to be possible with a tamper proof case. Just means you're not going to be able to do what that group currently did by resealing it with a different book. I also think the mistake they made was encapsulating the freaking label in with the book in the vacuum seal. If you don't do that, I think that changes things a little bit as well. Where because they were just swapping, right? Weren't they just swapping, or was it?
I don't think we don't really know, but
okay,
we just assumed that the inner well was getting swapped.
Yeah, so if that's the case, they had the label vacuum sealed with the inner well. I think they should change that. Yeah. But they need a tamper proof. They need like an inner sticker or a seal. They need something. And it has to happen. It has to happen.
True.
I guess it's just my opinion. Do they have to do it? No, I guess they don't. Because we're now pushing April and they haven't done it.
We could be sitting here 3 years from now with the same one, right? So,
true.
Yeah. Just whatever. I want to talk about what Swag has going on, but at the same time, I want to run a giveaway. Okay. So I'm going to I'm going to bring up some slides right now and let Swag kind of take over for a minute. And then I'm going to start running a giveaway. So pay attention to the chat. It will show you how to enter. But Swag, I mean, just a quick introduction, came on a few months ago. You had the Sanity, the Rise of the Occult, #1 come out, Kickstarter, big success. You wrote a comic book, man. Like, this is crazy. And now you're on to #2 and 3 coming up, right? Soon enough.
Yeah.
But this current Kickstarter is for #2, or it's for both?
It's for both of them.
Okay. So go ahead, man. Take it away.
Yeah. Well, for those who don't know, I think, a lot of people know me from my YouTube channel and this little niche hobby and stuff that we talk about. But, outside of YouTube, I do writing and film and all that. And I work a lot for D&D and Magic the Gathering and write into, some of these kind of what I would call them genre storytelling. And so I thought, hey, you know what? I've never written a comic book. It's a dream of mine. I love this hobby. I love this medium. Maybe I can combine forces, my comic love and my writing skill, and put something together. So, out came my comic book Sanity. It's a Lovecraftian detective adventure. It kind of is a throwback to sort of the vintage side of stuff. You go back to those early detective comics and the pulps and stuff, and you'll see a lot of that hard-boiled detective kind of navigating the world of the occult and things of that nature. So it's really my take on that. And we got the second Kickstarter out right now. It's been pretty successful so far. We hit our goal in the first 90 minutes, which was amazing.
Oof.
And
Congratulations.
thank you. And yeah, and so now we're kind of, keeping it running. We got the campaign going on for the next 30 days roughly. So, if anyone's out there and they're into kind of the Lovecraft mystery detective sort of a style of comic books, this is might be up your alley, and be super helpful to support, me and the team that's putting it together.
Absolutely. Not to cut you off, but guys, enter the giveaway. You type hashtag swag, SWAGG, in the chat to enter. There's about 1 minute left. I also dropped a link to the Kickstarter. Make sure you go over, support Swags. This is crazy. I mean, this is such an accomplishment. I mean, congrats, buddy. This is really cool stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's very nerve wracking. Like I want more than anything people to like it, people to enjoy it. So it's always a little bit like, oh, put it out there in the world, and hopefully someone not my mom decides to support it. And but I'm so humbled and thankful that some people have shown up so far. So it's super exciting, and I just hope everyone likes it as much as we ourselves like it.
Very cool, man. I can't even imagine how you have the time to do this. Like, this has got to be such a huge undertaking, right? Like, fucking bananas.
It was a lot. I mean, I've been pulling some really late nights just gearing up for this, and you just have to find it, find the time to work on it in your off time. And really, it's interesting. Like the writing part is something that I can definitely get ahead of, because I can just do it left to my own devices. But working with my artist, Santiago Espina is his name, and working with the variant cover artists and being more of the publisher, editor, getting all the materials together, coordinating the colorist and the letterer, and giving notes and feedback. Like that's really where a lot of the effort for this has had to be. So, but it's a lot of fun. You get to interact with all these people, and it's cool a la carte to get to reach out to variant cover artists that I just like. That I'm like, oh, I think your work is cool, and hey, would you want to work on this, and bring people on, and trying to do it in a way that I know you guys do with like your variants, like trying to you want to put in creativity that you like, that you feel like has a personal touch, and so that's what I tried to do as well with these.
Is the flamethrower making an appearance again?
It's funny. It's like, now that it's successful, it's, some of that money's got to go to flamethrower number 2. So that for sure will have to happen. Yeah. I'll have to put together a little funny commercial or something and top it this time. Maybe I can do like, I don't know, a rocket launcher or something crazy.
Oh my God.
You got to do bigger and better,
Got to go bigger. Did you see what he did, Gary?
No.
Flamethrower? You want to tell the people what you did?
Sure. Yeah. When I had the comic come out, I made a little commercial for it. Very much in the vein of, I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of the e-commerce companies, the Dollar Shave Clubs, the Manscapes and those types of things. They have that sort of humor. So I did one that was very inside baseball about comic books. I talked a lot about some of the pain points in our hobby. One of which was the false limited print runs of companies saying that it's one thing and not getting rid of all the other copies that exist out there. And so I tried to prove that I was getting rid of my extra copies by literally burning them with a flamethrower. So I have that on video.
Well, that's one way to do it.
It was one way to do it for sure, which, was hopefully some, Save the Trees organization never finds it.
Yeah, man. So congratulations on that. That is such a huge accomplishment. Like I said earlier, it is good to have kind of like a homegrown community guy, just, do something as big as this and as successful as it was, because your first one sold out, hit the goal super fast. This one hit the goal. Was it faster than issue 1?
Yeah, it was definitely faster this time around. Yeah.
And you were also picked by Kickstarter as what did they pick you for?
They call it a project we love, which I don't know how they determine it. But it's it's just sort of like a, hey, like we noticed this project is exciting and seems cool, and we'll feature it on kind of our homepage and that sort of thing.
There you go. So that's, again, congrats, man. Huge accomplishment.
Thank you.
And all the best, all success in the world to you, man. And hopefully, what's the plan? Like, do you have a plan on what number you're going to?
Yeah, well, so it's going to be miniseries where this one is for 2 and 3. I'm going to go to 6. That's kind of where we've sort of written and mapped it out to. And then I have little outlines for myself to go further, but that's sort of a bridge I'll cross when I get there. I mean, I'd love to keep going. I mean, I'm trying to build out an IP in a world and really make this, something as big as it can be. But I'll put a little bow on the story, at the end of 6. And if there's interest after that, then, maybe I'll continue to explore it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Congrats to Robert Cowie, if you're still in the chat there. You won a little prize bundle from Comic Book Exclusives, one of our friends of the channel. So if you're in the chat, let me know. Put your name in there. Say something. Say what up. I don't see your name. I don't think I saw your name. But yeah, let us know so I can get these books out to you. If you don't answer, then I'm just going to run it again in a minute. What else is there anything else that you guys wanted to touch on quick before we get out of here? I know there's a couple little things that happened this week.
Did you see the Beetlejuice trailer?
I didn't. I was going to watch it. I ran out of time. What'd you think?
I mean, it's a super teaser trailer.
Okay.
Super teaser. I don't even think it's 60 seconds. It might be, but he looks good.
Yeah,
sounds good.
What's fun about Beetlejuice is that IP hasn't been kind of milked in the way that other IPs have. Where it's kind of like, oh, cool. Like, let's see what's going on in that world.
Mm-hmm. No,
there's also X-Men 97. Did you guys watch X-Men 97?
I have to. I heard good things.
1.5 in. I mean, I know it's only 2 episodes. I just finished the first episode and people are really happy with it. I'm okay. Yeah, for no reason. You know what it was? And I understand why they did things. Did you watch it?
I did, yeah.
Okay. Matty didn't watch it. It's good, Matt. Watch it. It just seemed like they were force feeding us everybody in first episode, like what they're doing. And I know you have to because there's people who never watched the old cartoon. Yes. So I totally get it. But I was like, man, I don't need this cheesy back and forth. Like, oh, I'm a storm. I don't need, but I am happy and I'm gonna watch it through. And I'm not gonna lie, I had a smile on my face during the opening intro. And so they did nerf Rogue.
They totally nerfed her.
Yeah, her ass. Or
it's very sad. Yeah.
And I'm not
which part?
Her ass. Yeah. I'm not quite in love with the animation.
I kind of feel you on that.
I'm not.
I didn't think it was that good. Yeah, I've seen
I don't love the animation. And the voices are obviously a little off, and I get it.
Yeah.
And that hurts a little bit, but what can you do?
They're using the source material as far as what happened in the animated series is kind of true to that. I mean, the animation almost looks identical. Like
I'm being just super picky if I have to fight, but people are saying it's great and it's amazing, and I'm like, it's good.
Yeah,
it's good. It's nostalgia and it's fun, and I'm sure that's going to get great as the story goes on. That's all. I'm going to watch it 100% right through.
I'm kind of with you, Gary, on it. Like I watched it and I was like, oh, it's pretty good. Like it's well done. I don't have too many complaints. Like it was fun, but I think it was just sort of like, yeah, okay. It's kind of like the show.
Yeah.
But maybe what it is were you feeling this where it's sort of like, I don't feel like we need it in a weird way?
Yeah, we didn't need it, but I'm not upset about it. I'm like, I don't want to sound like a pessimist because it's fine. I just thought I was expecting, and look, I do have to finish the second episode. So I do have to say that, but I didn't, people were the way people talked about it, it sounded like the second coming of like the MCU all of a sudden. Like, I know it has nothing to do with, but it's good. You know what? If this takes off and it's as good as I hope it is, and then you have Deadpool with Wolverine and they really start putting some effort into mutants, I think everyone in the chat, everyone on screen will be very happy if they do everything the right way.
Jay said Gambit looks like the manager at Hot Topic.
They nerfed Gambit too.
Yeah.
Hulk 197, where are you? That is a Bernie Wrightson cover, actually.
But
if I
Storm,
remember correctly.
Let me tell you, it's episode 2 was Storm, or was it episode 1? Episode 1 was Storm and the Sentinels. That was good.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was
they
good.
Kind of gave I don't know. I haven't watched X-Men in a long time, the original animated one, but they kind of kicked the crap out of those Sentinels, like in a way that, remember the Ultra, I feel like they got
It was a struggle.
slaughtered all the time.
Yeah, I agree.
They
just
give them,
tore through them.
yeah, all of a sudden everyone's like fighting like they're Superman out there, you know?
Yeah.
They gave him some
And
power.
Beast wearing one like a freaking mech was stupid, I thought, but whatever.
Yeah.
I thought that was dumb.
We're just going to keep going through people until we find a winner here. Lindsay Schultz, are you in the chat? Are you in the chat? Speak up so we can give some fucking books away, God damn it. We have something big coming up tomorrow night, Gary.
Oh, yeah. We
Look
do.
at those 4 idiots.
Our
Go ahead, Gary. Talk about it.
Tomorrow on Whatnot, guys, Defective Collective is back. We have some crazy stuff. I have like some of these books I'm auctioning off here. Like I got an Eternals 1 and a 9.0, started at $1. I got a Masters of the Universe 1 and a 9.85, starting at $1. First Granny Goodness starting at $1. First Carnage. Like I'm starting all this stuff at $1. Like we have some nice keys here. Oh, first Spider-Man 2099. Going to start this at $1 and a 9.8. I don't even know what Matt's bringing. I have no idea what Erod's bringing, but I'm just bringing slabs tomorrow. It is on Whatnot. It's on my channel, and we're gonna have a good time, like always.
So I was talking to Gary today. I almost called him Jay, and there's a reason why. So he goes, I was pricing slabs, man, and I just had a bunch of slabs in front of me, and I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna run slabs. I'm like, so you pulled the J. So you pulled the J.
I just grabbed.
You just grabbed whatever was in front of you. Like, yep, this looks good. Let's run this.
That's what I did.
I think it's gonna work out because guess what? You're running slabs at $1, so
I'm running slabs at $1.
You're gonna lose, and everyone else is gonna win. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, it will be on Whatnot, eBay Live. We use eBay Live, but it's just not ready for a Defective Collective.
It's not ready for Defective Collective. Let me make this very clear to everyone.
Go ahead.
We are going to bring Defective Collective to eBay. It's just not ready yet. Right? Can I say that?
It's not there yet. I mean, this is too big an event.
Yet.
There's big. We have big books going. There's just too many. There's too much effort after the fact, and there's now been too much. We're starting to have tiny little things happening during the stream that it's great for a Tuesday night. We really like it. The buyers seem to like it, but it's just not ready for a 4-hour, like $200-$400 per lot stream, like on some of these books, where all of a sudden people are like, "Oh, I couldn't bid," you know. It's just and then the after, because we do so many books and so many giveaways and so many different combination of shipping and this and that. It's not ready yet, and they know it. It's still in beta, so it's not a knock on eBay Live. Like they're not even.
No,
they're like crawling still. Like they're not even. They're not even out of the newborn stage at this point.
And remember, like we're all in on eBay Live. We're using it for the entire King Con show. Like it's just not ready for multiple people. All of us on there. So all right. So William Medina won a slab that I auctioned that. Somehow he was able to bid on that I never even auctioned off during the stream. It was weird. I don't know how that happened. And there was one other one that happened, and it never appeared on my list. So there's still some glitchiness with the platform, but they'll get it.
It's getting there. They're making improvements. So like I'm not upset about it. It's just it's not ready for prime time. You know what I mean?
No.
Comic Ozzy won. I know he's somewhere in here, so I think he's the winner at this point. So guys,
enter.
That's what time? 8:00 tomorrow night?
8:00 tomorrow night on Whatnot, guys. We'll probably be running for 3.5 hours. It'll be a lot of fun. King Con's where you want to be too. Follow us all on eBay Live. I forgot it. Like on eBay, just save us as sellers. Pressable Defects, Very Gary Comics, Express CBP.
Can I show some books?
Please.
I mean, I have some cool stuff. We used to do this a lot on YouTube where we like just have like a stack of books next to us and we used to show them like the good old days where things were simpler. There he is. There's the Wizard of Oz. Congrats, man.
You're here.
Congrats. You won. All right. We'll talk. We'll talk on IG. I'll send you some stuff. All right.
Canada.
Yeah, I know, but it's because it's Ozzy. I don't mind. I don't mind. I'll make Jay pay for it. So, how about the first full cover appearance of Doctor Strange?
That's the FF book. That's a great
Nice.
book. That's not cheap.
That is not cheap. That's going up. This is literally. I know. I'm starting with like the dessert, but it is what it is. This is one of my favorite books that I've ever come across. I'll be honest, because I'm a big Bill Sienkiewicz fan, or Sienkiewicz, how you want to call it. This is the Hulk magazine number 13. This is his first published interior work, and his first, which obviously would be his first work on Moon Knight also. And the colors, the interior colors on this book are bananas. They blow away modern books. And this is a book from the 70s. It's one of those super color magazines. And at first I was like, wait a minute, it's a Hulk. Like, he's not credited with the Hulk. The thing with this one is it's a backup story of Moon Knight, and he does all the artwork for it. And it's his first published work, period. And obviously his first work on Moon Knight. So this is just a super, super cool looking book, and a super important, it's just historical book for comic book art. I mean, this is just really, really cool. Not a book you really find too often. How about Tarzan #1 from 1948?
Jeez.
Not
Nice.
Dell Comics. This is the original Tarzan. Not the first Tarzan in comics, but the first series. The #1 of the first Tarzan series. I have a lot of DC. First Enchantress.
She's on the cover.
She's on the cover. Yeah, she's right there.
Yep.
What's this one, guy? I don't even remember what this is. This is Batman 180. Do you remember what that is?
I don't. Is it the first death or something? Hold on.
I forget. But I know that this is the second Poison Ivy.
That is the second Poison Ivy.
Nice.
Like a mid-grader. How about a Tales of Suspense 24? 24, 10 center.
Batman 180 is the first appearance of Lord Deathman, a Japanese crime lord.
There you
I
go.
said death. I was a little wrong.
Tales of Suspense 53, second Black Widow.
Nice.
I'll tell you.
These are all going on. These are going to your show tomorrow.
These are all going on the show
start.
tomorrow. This is
$1
show.
starts.
These are all dollar
Yeah,
starts.
$1.
This is a madman over here selling them
This is-
$1 starts.
Hey, listen. First Crimson Dynamo, second Pepper Potts, and second Happy Hogan. Tales of Suspense, what number is that? 46.
Guys, that's a big book too. But
That's a big one.
I don't know if people realize how expensive the early Black Widow stuff is.
Oh, very expensive. This is such a cool cover though. This will be the last one I show because I'm showing off too much.
Oh, that's classic.
FF 55 classic Kirby cover. And I didn't realize this is the first time he's depicted in the shorts, Silver Surfer.
Really?
It comes back in the 80 series, but he has the shorts there.
Bringing it back quickly to the CGC thing. It's the Jack Kirby signature now going to CGC. That's going to be
The interior signature.
That's going to be the exciting thing for people, I think.
Good point, Swag. Good point. I love this book. I really don't want to sell it, but somebody's going to get a really cool piece of history.
Yeah, that's why.
Oh, look, there we are again. So somebody said today, I think it was back issue. I do. I love the Hulk cheeks. He's right. Jay's right. Somebody said today that we look like Super Mario Brother rejects, and Gary looks like a lawn gnome.
You're not wrong.
I mean, it's pretty accurate. It's pretty accurate. I'm not even gonna lie.
That's a good comment. Yeah.
Oh my god. So yeah, so we got some good books. I went a little. It's been a while since we've done a Defective Collective, so I wanted to bring some heat, and I think I may have gotten a little carried away.
Yeah, Matt went crazy.
I got a little carried away. I'm probably going to get a call from Jay in like half an hour that says, don't run that and that. But it's already been entered into the system. So what are you going to do?
Everyone's going to hold your feet to the fire if you don't.
I know they really are. They'll just bitch if I don't.
Oh, you uploaded all your stuff already too?
A lot of it. Most of it.
All right.
Yeah. T-shirts. Yeah, we need that Defective Collective logo on a t-shirt. People are asking for t-shirts already and stickers, but we're going to get out of here. Swag, what do you have going on the channel? Talk about what you have coming up other than the Kickstarter, which, guys, if you want to get to the link for Swaggle's Kickstarter is in the description below, along with the link to KingCon, the eBay stuff, the eBay stream. Set the reminder for the eBay stream in April, but go ahead.
Did I lag out? Maybe I lagged out.
Yeah, you're a little lag, but go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you guys for having me on the channel. You know, if you guys don't know, I have a YouTube Swagglehaus. You guys can check it out. Talk about comic books. What I got going on this week. You know what I'm excited to talk about is that Action Comics 1 that is getting closer and closer
Yeah.
to finally going up for sale on Heritage. I think already is the world record price for a comic book. So I'll probably do like some previews for some of the big books coming up. I'll probably do that in the next week or so. And other than that, we'll just be covering whatever the latest news is in the comic book world.
There you go. And then, are we still invited, Swag? And what is that? 2 weeks?
Oh yeah. Well, you guys are definitely going to come on. Hopefully Gary can come as well. Hopefully Jay can make it. But we're going to have a show on April 2nd, which is going to be the Tuesday before King Kong Con. So, we'll have a show. We'll have you guys come over to my channel. We'll talk all things King Kong. We'll, get into, whatever some of the topics are those days. I feel like that's in like a week or 10 days from now. So, who knows what could pop up that'll be of interest to talk about. But
Something will be good.
Yeah, we'll figure out. Yeah, we'll figure out some interesting topics. At the very least, maybe we can give our hear your X-Men 97 reviews and things like that. So you guys will be over on my channel, and that'll be a fun conversation.
Awesome. Gary, what do you have coming up? Doing videos this week or what?
Yeah. Tomorrow I have the cover price top 10 from 4 years ago. Actually, this is a really good one because there are some real keys on the list that have appreciated in value since 2020, which is what we try to tell people. Like, yes, the market is down from 2021 and 2022, but a lot of books are up from 2020. So COVID was, obviously affected a lot of things, but, I try to stay positive. So there are some keys on this list tomorrow that people probably have in their personal collection. So it's exciting. Was that a good tease? I feel like that was a good tease.
I like it. Now people are like, all right, now I want to watch it because I want to know what books went up in value.
Yeah, I mean, I do have to edit the video still. I did have some issues. And then I have to record part 2 of the Omnibus collection. I recorded a collection video today. So all that stuff's coming down the pipe.
There you go. All right, dude. So, guys, I had a blast tonight. It was a lot of fun. It was a good conversation. I think we made people think about at the other side of the coin, whatever side of the coin they were looking at. Maybe now they've seen the other, right? That's what we try to do here in this community. I know Swag does it too. Try to look at it from all angles, right? It's not always good. It's not always bad. Try to look at it as neutral, and chances are that's where it probably lies. So, guys, if you're new here, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you know when we're putting out content. Every Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern, we have a recorded video. Every other Wednesday, but Thursdays for the next couple weeks, we have a live show around 8 or 9 o'clock. And then Tuesday nights, we go live on eBay Live every Tuesday. Effective Collective tomorrow night on Whatnot, Gary's channel. And that's it. Make sure you guys are following Gary. Make sure you guys are following Swag. Their links are down below. And till the next time, Defects.